Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Oh, you can't see my Woolly Thistle shirt. I decided to wear a Woolly Thistle t-shirt today because if I tilt this down, you'll be able to see it. There we go. Because I didn't want to wear knitwear because it's really warm. Oh, I probably should have turned on the fan. That's okay. The fan's gonna make noise, so I don't want the fan on. Just wash my hair so now there's a wet spot, but that will dry. Yeah, I'm back in Baltimore and it's nice and hot. So yeah, it's funny. Whenever I leave home, like Vermont, I'm always so sad to leave. I'm like, oh, it's so nice here. I sleep so well, and like someone makes me dinner. I sometimes make dinner too when I'm home, but it's really nice to just be home and like relax and not have to do like so much stuff all the time and have all these responsibilities of being an adult. That's like a normal thing, right? So, but then I come back and I'm like, oh, I really missed whatever, run club, church, I don't know, hanging out completely by myself in my house, whatever, my friends, etc. So I'm happy to be back. And I have finished so many socks. Let's just talk about socks for a while because I have to go get something over there that's not blocked yet that I'm going to talk about later. But I don't want to pause the video yet because I'm going to pause it 20 minutes in to go turn off the burner for the fleece. I'm washing fleece today. But I finished a bunch of socks. So I already showed these last time when my mom was on, but I hadn't blocked them yet. These are the Tea and Scandal socks by Olivia Villarreal. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but on Ravelry. You can buy them for like $3. They're very inexpensive. I edited this sock. So I wanted to knit it cuff down and the pattern is written for toe up. So I just knit from the same chart because it's basically symmetrical. It's a little lace chart, and in the original pattern, it's also just on the front, like the back is plain and the foot, obviously the bottom of the foot is plain, but also the back is plain. So I didn't feel like doing math to try to do it all the way around because I would have needed to add a couple stitches and I just didn't want to. Sometimes I know that I can do something, but the brain power is just like not feeling it. So one by one, rib, 64 stitches, did the lace panel down the front, which is quite pretty. Continued it all the way down the leg, did a heel flap and gusset, which is my preference, and then wedge toe as usual. So I found it very easy to substitute my preferred sock construction method, which was cuff down with a heel flap and gusset and a wedge toe. If you've knit a lot of socks, this will not be hard for you. If you haven't knit a lot of socks, but you know your preference, like you really like toe up with Flegel heel, or you like toe up with a Fish Lips Kiss heel or an Afterthought heel, or cuff down or toe up for either of those two, or a German short row heel or whatever, I would recommend knitting a bunch of socks that are already written for your preferred style, if possible, if they exist. And then you'll kind of get the feel for like how that sock is constructed, and you'll figure out eventually how to superimpose charts or instructions like texture patterns or whatever from other socks onto your preferred sock method. But I would suggest getting really comfortable with following a pattern so that you really understand how something is constructed and created before going off book, if that makes you nervous. If it doesn't make you nervous, you should go for it because curiosity is great. As long as you're okay with it not going well. A lot of people, I've said this before and I'll say it again, a lot of people like to F around, but they don't like to find out. So if you're gonna F around, mess around, whatever you wanna say, you better be ready to find out. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's gonna go really well, sometimes it's not. But that's what happens. And I used Drover yarn for this, which is a very woolly wool. It's from the Woolly Thistle. Well, it's made by the Daughter of a Shepherd, which is a company in the UK, and it is spun and, milled and spun at John Arbon, which is also in the UK. They produce worsted spun yarns. So this is really similar to Exmoor Sock, if you've knitted with that. Exmoor Sock is in-house John Arbon yarn. So the fiber is a little bit different. This is, I would say this one's maybe a little bit softer. This John Arbon Exmoor sock is 60% Exmoor Blueface, which is a cross between an Exmoor Horn and a Blueface Leicester. 20% Corriedale, 10% Swarpless and 10% nylon. This also has 10% nylon and 10% Swarpless, and then it's like a blend of other sheep. But the handle is similar just because it's spun at the same mill. So yeah, it'll feel a little different, but on the whole, similar construction in the yarn. You can buy this at, I think in the UK, probably at a lot of places or retailers. In the US, the only one I know of is the Woolly Thistle. And I am an affiliate of the Woolly Thistle, so I always recommend that you shop there. So there will be a link to Drover in my description box, but also somewhere up there is my affiliate link. I'm an affiliate of the Woolly Thistle, so if you shop there using my link, I get a small kickback at no extra cost to you, which really helps support my channel, and I appreciate that. And a lot of you do that, and it's awesome, and I'm really grateful. So gotta knit something with this at some point. You can also get Exmoor sock at the Woolly Thistle if you are in the US. Just saying. Also shop now because tariffs might come at some point and raise prices, which stinks. But I won't comment further on that because then I might get canceled. So anyway, then I knitted another pair of socks, which I was talking about last time, which are the Studiolo socks. And they are so cute. I have this little ruffle at the top. Came out really pretty once blocked. It looked pretty beforehand as well. And then this is a Helen Stewart pattern that has all of the things that I like about sock knitting. It's already written for cuff down, heel flap, and gusset and wedge toe. So that was really fun. Got to just follow the instructions exactly. Although one of the best things about that kind of thing is that I don't really need instructions anymore. I just used the lace chart from this and followed that until I was done, and then I just decided basically how many stitches to knit until the foot or heel flap. Did that, knitted the foot until it was the right length, did the toe. Didn't take much, just extra work. It was really autopilot once I got past the cuff. So sometimes that's nice because it goes fast. It does go fast. I can knit a sock very quickly when it's vanilla. But also sometimes that's a little boring. But sometimes it's just what you need. Or sometimes you're like, I just knitted a whole patterned sock. I really need a break. And for me, that was kind of nice because then by the end of the sock, you're getting bored and you're like, oh, I want to go knit another complicated sock. So hot tip, if you're getting bored, knit a somewhat plain sock that still gives you a little bit of fun, and then you'll be ready by the end of that sock, hopefully, to go knit a more fun sock, or not more fun, that's the wrong phrase, more complicated sock. Yeah, so I finished those. I think I finished them when I was still at home, but I didn't want to cast on any more socks because I knew I had less than a week until the next pattern for the Handmade Sock Society season 6 got released. So if you are new to this channel, I am knitting through the Handmade Sock Society season 6 because I love mystery sock clubs. I would love mystery clubs for anything else, but I particularly like knitting socks, so I like the mystery sock club because I think it's really doable to knit a pair of socks in a month. I mean, I knit 3 pairs of socks last month, so clearly it's doable for me. Because I liked the Flourish socks, which were the first socks in the series, so much that I immediately needed to knit 2 other pairs of socks. And the little pink ones that I just made are a Helen Stewart pattern as well from the Handmade Sock Society season 5. So you can still participate. We're in the midst of it. If you buy it now, you'll get the first 2 patterns, which already have been released, and then you'll get the last 4 the first Thursday of every month until they're done with 6. So July, August, September, and October, there will be more patterns. So that's super fun. And so the new sock that came out last Thursday was called the Letterpress socks. And they're super cute. They're like textured. So they have this like knit pearl texture that is supposed to be like the way that letters were lined up in a letterpress for early printing, which to me as a history nerd is really cool. This pattern is very, very easy to memorize. There's a 10 round repeat. And so I have made a mod to this, well, 2 mods. One is that, so in the original pattern, the leg is quite tall, and there's like 7 or something repeats of this pattern, which looks really pretty because if you're wearing like a shoe, you can see all of the pretty texture. I don't like to wear shoes with my hand knit socks though, and so I in the original pattern in the picture, the pattern stops after the leg and doesn't continue down the foot. The foot's just plain vanilla, which makes sense if you're putting your foot in a shoe. There's no like texture to, it would like leave marks on the top of your foot. It wouldn't be smooth. It might be uncomfortable. So very understandable. So, but I was like, well, I'm probably gonna give these away, but they're gonna be like used as house slippers probably. So no problem to continue the texture pattern down the foot. So I decided to do a little bit of a shorter leg, 40 rounds. So 4 full repeats of the pattern, heel, flap, and gusset as written in the pattern, and then continue down the foot. So I'm actually almost done. I am on the foot, which is why that looks plain stockinette. So I'm on the foot of the first sock. This took 2 days. I have not worked on it since. So I guess I'm just a fast sock knitter. I remember when I first started knitting socks, and it was like 2020 in the summer, and I knitted a sock in 2 days. And I was shocked with myself. I was like, that's crazy fast. I don't think that, like, my hands really hurt. And I was like, wow, I'm knitting so much, like obsessively on this sock. And it took 2 days to finish one sock. And I felt like very productive. And then like now I'm like, yeah, 2 days. I mean, this is a little bit shorter, but like I also worked both of those days. And I was working yesterday and Thursday because today is Saturday. I'm recording this much earlier than I'm going to post it. I could just post this now, like it doesn't matter, right? Like when I release it, but I think people like when there's a Tuesday release, but maybe I'll edit cause I just realized like is that a shadow? Oh no, it's probably just like some mark on my face. I thought it might be smoothie. Sorry, I shouldn't be using my camera as a mirror. I often take a lot of downtime on Saturdays during the day after my run. So maybe I will start recording on the weekends. I could also record Sunday afternoons after. There's Evensong tomorrow for this week, but that's the last Evensong of the season. So then I won't have any Sunday afternoons. I'll get to come back from DC for every Sunday afternoon, which is fun. But anyway, let's get back to this. Thursday and Friday, I was working for doing orientation. So orientation is like a virtual, if you don't know what that is, I work with students. And most of the time I work with students who are like in school. It's during the semester, but during the summer, we don't have a lot of students. So taking classes. So most of my job is to help the advising team that I like work with and work in the office with do orientation. So we sit in like a chat space in a program called WebEx, and like we're not directly talking to students in like a video call, but there are other like orientation advisors who are not like full-time advisors, and this is just like their summer job, and most of them are grad students, and they talk to the students to get them registered for their fall semester, the new students and who are incoming first years or transfer students. And so we sit in this room because a lot of the orientation advisors have questions or something has changed, like the student has some transfer credits from AP scores or like whatever, or they just have changed their mind and they want to do this major and they need updated course recommendations from us. So we sit in, we can work from home, which is nice on those days, but we like are answering questions all afternoon on those days. So the point is that I actually had a lot to do at work. So I couldn't knit all day on these socks, obviously. I mean, it was like the work week. Normally I knit just like at night and on the weekends. And I was going to say in the morning, but I usually run in the mornings. So Thursday mornings which is my rest day. But these are so cute. And I'm using for this blue yarn. This is Bear Paw Sock. I actually have the label, Sock Squad. So I did the Sock Squad from Farmer's Daughter Fibers in 2021. So pretty long time ago now. Sock Squad, November 2021. Ermias. I don't know what that it means. I could Google it, but I forgot. So if you know what that means, you can tell me. This came with a bright green mini that I used for something else, but it was really cool. This is Bear Paw socks, so it's merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. I've dyed on yak basis before. I love it. 437 yards. That's the mini skein specs underneath, 87 yards, because it was a 20 gram mini skein. I loved getting surprises every month in the mail with Sock Squad. So if you love that, I think you can sign up. I don't know if you have to sign up, like when I did it, you could do like quarterly. So like around this time, you could sign up for the third quarter if you wanted 3, because there are 3 different bases. There was the 75-25 base, the Pintler sock. Then there was the 80-20 base. I don't know what that one was called, squish sock. 80-20 base 2-ply, and then there was the yak Bear Paw sock. So that was really fun. I really loved that. But I have a lot of sock yarn, so I don't need to do that because I can also dye my own. So I just don't need another skein of sock yarn coming into my life every month. But it was also pretty affordable. It was like $20 some a month, which, you know, is about the cost of a hand-dyed skein of yarn anyway. And this also came with a mini and shipping was included. So that was actually awesome. And I loved every color. The minis, the combinations I didn't always love, but I loved all the colors that I got. So sometimes I would use the mini with it and sometimes I wouldn't. I would just use the mini for something else and I would save it. And that was great. I always had a use for it. So I loved that. Oh, my speaker just turned off. I got this little speaker, which is waterproof, at IKEA for $5. I think it was normally like a $15 thing, but this color was for some reason on sale for $5. And it's like a pool speaker, so it's waterproof. I take it into the shower with me if I want to like listen to a podcast in the shower, which occasionally I'm like in the middle of a podcast when I take a shower and I'm like, yes, I would like to continue listening in the shower. How convenient. People my age and younger love to listen to music in the shower. This is really weird. I don't know why we like it, but when I worked at Penn at the dorms, like I lived with a first year population of students in the dorms, the students would like blast music out of their phones in the shower because like now iPhones are waterproof, which I still don't like. I mean, I understand that's true, but like I wouldn't take my phone into the shower with me, but so many people do that. Like directly, they had it like in their shower caddy and they were like blasting like filthy rap music like at 7 a.m. in the showers. Like I could hear it way out of the bathroom. It was crazy. Like they just thought that that was fine. And I'm like, okay, maybe a lot of these students like have private bathrooms growing up in their houses at home with their parents and they could do that because nobody could hear it. But like, dude, you share a bathroom with 15 other people, including like people who are 25 like I was. Like, can you not? Like the people who live next to the bathroom are getting woken up by your dumb music. Another thing those kids did all the time, not to just get way off topic, but was that and all of them used the iPhone alarm that went. If you have an iPhone, you know what I'm talking about. I don't use that alarm sound. I don't like it. I find it aggressive. But all of those students use that. And like around, usually I would teach at 10 a.m. and I would prepare for class between like 8 and 9. And I would, I would like knit until like 8 a.m. every morning because I always got up early. And I would sit in my chair in my like bigger dorm room and I would knit I would prep for class from 8 to 9 and then at 9 I would get ready because I had to teach at 10 and it was like a 5-minute walk to class, which was handy. And between 8 and 9 all the students' alarms would go off. Like a lot of alarms would go off between that time, like around 8 or 8:30 or whatever. And every single day there were always like 4 or 5 of them going off at the same time. And like it was like a cacophony and they were starting at different times. It was so wild. And the students wouldn't turn them off for a long time. Like I was always just impressed that they could sleep through that and like not care that their roommate was probably getting disturbed by it. Like this is just a story about college students or university students being like not very conscientious. But I just thought that was crazy. So that's fun. Anyway. Sorry, I had to pause so that I could go downstairs and change the water in the fiber bath. I'm washing fleece, like I said, I'm washing fleece today, so that's fun. I got the bigger pot out, and I found another laundry wash bag so that I can now wash much more fleece at a time, twice as much. So, excuse me. So that's fun. I'm gonna enjoy washing a ton of fleece later and having a lot to comb and spin. I'm still trying to figure out what to do about combing because it does, I definitely have an allergic reaction to combing in here. On the, like in my house on the 3rd floor. But like I have to attach the combs to this desk, in theory, because, I don't have anything else that could, like, I can strap the combs to, because you have, like, they're in a big hole, like they're in a holder. You screw it to the desk and one comb stays there. You can hold combs in both hands, so I might actually try that, like go outside and try combing with like 2 hands, like holding the comb in one hand and using, you know, just to see if that works. I wish I had like an outdoor table I could fix the stable comb to, but like the reason is because I sleep in this same like one open space. My bed is in like the small nook over there. When I first moved to this house, I thought that I would sleep in this is the much bigger like front of the house with the higher ceiling in this half of the, well, 2/3 of the space. And I put my bed here and I was like, no, wait, I have way more stuff that like my bed can go in that little nook. That's perfect. And it's nice and quiet and it's not facing the street. So that'll be great. And then I can put all my stuff because of yarn. Like yarn takes up a lot and fleece takes up much more space than one bed. And my desk and stuff up here. And so, but it's open, there's no door. So I don't want to sleep in a space where I've just been combing because there's all those particles and dust, and I'm quite allergic to animal dander. Even when it's been combed, it's not like fully, you know, there's all sorts of dirt that I'm still combing out. And when I comb, there's especially the Corriedale fleece, there's a residue on the floor that gets left. So it would be ideal to do that outside for every reason in the world. Jordan and I are thinking of getting like nicer patio furniture because we have a plastic table that her parents gave us with some chairs. It's just like, I don't know. It's not, we have a bigger backyard now than we did in our old place. And so if we get a like wooden table or something I could fix a comb to, that would be good, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I need to figure out a solution so that I can comb all this fleece because I've been spinning it. I spin with a mask on, but it's works great. No problems with that. I haven't been spinning a ton, but I did spin a little bit on the e-spinner this week with Shrek, the gray fleece. It's not a sheep named Shrek. If you missed this, I just named my fleeces Shrek and Fiona because they just had numbers, which I didn't like. I thought that was boring. So I have gone a long way away from the sock talk that I was on. Can't wait to finish this pair. I'm going to finish this sock tonight and then cast on the next one probably. Completely forgetting about the sweater that I just cast on. Give me a minute. I will talk about that. I just want to talk more about socks for a minute. So I would like to knit some of the Handmade Sock Society Season 2 patterns again because I love them so much. As I've said many times, that's my favorite season. I've knitted all of those socks before, but I want to knit them again apparently. So yeah, I dyed some yarn. I chose a couple of skeins for some of the socks, and then I wanted to dye 3 skeins for the others. And for the Samphire socks, I just dyed this skein. So this is a pretty bright green. It's not quite the same color as Samphire because Samphire is like a little bit more, it's not quite as emerald. It's more of a like bright grass green, whereas this is a little bit more blue in it. I could have just put yellow in the dye pot, but I didn't. I might actually dye this deeper green. Like I like the color, but I might just put more dye in the pot and like put a little yellow in just to see what I can get. Like I'm not necessarily done with this color. I might over dye it just for fun. Not because I dislike it just because I can, because it's still light. So I just like playing around with this stuff. It makes me really happy, as you probably know. So yeah, I dyed this yesterday, but I don't have any more sock yarn left, so I need to get some more. But I'm not going to do that until like the second half of the summer, because I have this one, which is not done, but it will be when I over dye it. And then, so I want to knit the Samphire socks with the green. Again, not sure what kind of green it will be when it's done, but it'll be really pretty. I love the little squigglies on the top of the Samphire socks. So I don't want it to be too dark, because I want the pattern to still come through, because it's a really cool lace pattern. And there's a cool texture pattern on the back, which I love. So can't make it too dark, but I want to do a little more with that. I'm not done. And then got a couple skeins. I'm not married to this idea, but I think I'm gonna knit the Cornish cream tea socks with this color, which I love. It's really pretty. Don't know what color I used to dye this. Have no idea, but I did dye this myself. These are all hand dyed. I was gonna say the whole set will be hand dyed by me, but won't be, because I already knitted the Shell Cottage socks again in a green that wasn't dyed by me. But the first Shell Cottage socks I made, which incidentally, this is a coincidence, are sitting on the table right here. I did dye these. This is the same base as this, and these are really similar actually. So I will have hand dyed a whole set. I dyed a lot of the yarns that I used to make the first set of Handmade Sock Society pattern, season 2 patterns, but not all of them. But this is like a kind of dark rose color, like brownish. I love this. Yeah, I don't know how I did it, but that's part of the magic. One skein wonder, that's what they call me. I never dye the same color twice, despite having a notebook where I actually wrote a bunch of things down. But I don't use stock anymore. I was using dye stock when I wrote those things down so that I could replicate if I wanted to. Probably never did. And then, so Cornish cream tea socks, I'm probably gonna use this. And then I pulled this. I actually had this marked for sale. I named it Eeyore's Gloomy Place. This was like a 4-ply 80/20 blend that, what was the company I bought this from? Wool to Die For is not it. It was something else. I can't remember. I don't know if they have it anymore. I don't think they do. But it's like 4-ply 80/20. It's really soft. It doesn't feel like this 80/20, which this, if you have bought a lot of hand-dyed yarn for socks, the 80/20 blends almost always look like this. They're 2-ply. They're really springy, a lot of spring to them. Anyway, I named this one Eeyore's Gloomy Place, which I thought was clever. I also don't have the sailing school socks. I was just thinking, I'm not knitting this sailing school socks with this. I want to knit the Cliff Walk socks, because the pair that I knitted before was in a really, really dark purple, so it was hard to see the pattern, but it was pretty, and I still have them. But I want to be able to see the lace pattern because it was so pretty. So I think I'm going to knit the Cliff Walk socks in this very grayish purple. I also thought about knitting the dorsal socks with this, not with the mini. But I kind of want to dye like a more like a blue, like a really steely kind of grayish light, very light blue for the dorsal socks instead. Anyway, sailing school socks. Yes. When I was selling these sock sets at the local yarn shop in my hometown, I made a pair of sailing school socks with, it was light teal with a dark teal mini. It was just like this, but it was teal. And I gave them to them as a sample, and I never got them back, which is not their fault. It's my fault for never going to pick them up. I also left a sweater sample with them that I never got back because I never asked for it. So anyway, I don't own the sailing school socks anymore, so I clearly need to knit them again so that I have them. But I think I'm gonna dye like a light yellow for that pattern. I don't know. I haven't. It's a simple pattern. It just needs to be done in like a light color so that you can see. Could do it in a gray. That could be fun. I could also do the dorsal socks in this, dye a light blue for the sailing school socks, and then use another yarn for the Cliff Walk socks. I have a lot of yarns. There are options, but I'm like, oh, I don't have enough sock yarns. There's like 25 skeins of yarn in there. And I'm like, I don't have the colors I want. I need to get more white yarn so I can dye more, so that I can have those as well. I will always knit socks, apparently, so I keep coming back to them. So I'm not super worried about them not getting used, but whatever. Anyway, that's enough sock talk. You guys are probably bored. I finished this striped sweater, which was so fun. I haven't blocked it, but it is done. And I like it. It's really cozy. I'm gonna give it to a friend in the fall when it's like the season for that. But I'm glad that I used a lot of leftovers. And if you missed my description of this in Woolly Thistle Shopcast or here, I used like Aran weight woolly wool, like worsted and Aran weight, because it's pretty much interchangeable. Very woolly wool, and I have lots of leftovers because I've knitted a lot of sweaters and mittens, etc. in these yarns. So yeah, and I can tell you what everything is and which sweater I knit with it, if I knitted a sweater or whatever I knit with it, because we have lots of memories associated with our yarns, and isn't that so wonderful? But yeah, I just wanted to like get through some of it and I got through a whole sweater's worth of it, which is good. There's still plenty. I could probably knit like 2 more of these. They just wouldn't be as cohesive, probably. I think I did a pretty cohesive job on this. I'm proud, you know, did okay. So I just used I don't know, I think I used a Tin Can Knits Strange Brew to just do the increases for a circular yoke and just have the numbers. You can, if you want to do this, you can use a circular yoke pattern with patterning on it, just not do any patterning, just do the increases and follow all the other instructions. But I love this. Andrea Mowry has a pattern called Stripes with an exclamation point that's the same principle. She used like 5 colors of sport weight yarn and just striped them. And it's like circular yoke like this, and it's really cute. And I just thought, it's a nice way to use yarn, and it's functional and will keep someone warm. So I like this. I just need to block it. I have a few things I need to block. I also have to block the baby sweater, which is still here, and a pair of, the hockey socks. My mom was really happy that other people commented about her hockey nonsense. Not nonsense. Her excitement over hockey. These are my Toronto Maple Leaf socks. They sadly lost in the second round of the playoffs. So, didn't they lose to Tampa Bay? Well, if they did, regardless, I hope the Oilers win the Stanley Cup. But yeah, my mom is going crazy about it when the games are on. So she's glad that there are other hockey fans who commented about her, all the hockey stuff that she talked about when she came on a couple weeks ago, which was so fun. And she is very excited that the Oilers are in the Stanley Cup finals. And I think is having a hard time watching all the games, but she's been staying up very late. So that's fun. And I thank you for all of your nice comments about her being here. I wish that she could be on every week, but sadly we don't live in the same place. So she'll be back later this summer. So not too long, because I'm gonna go back to Vermont in, I don't know, 6 weeks or so. So that's fun. I also started a new sweater because I finished that one and I was like, I finished a pair of socks this week too. I get the pink socks, they were done. And I was like, okay, well, there are a few other projects like the pressed flowers cardigan that I was working on. I've kind of taken a break on that again. I guess it's just one of those things that I'm like, I'm gonna work on this like crazy for 3 days and then I'm gonna not knit on it for 4 months. Like that kind of thing. So I don't know, just gotta, if you like knit on it once, you're like, oh yeah, this is great, I love this. But I'm not in that headspace. That's okay. I've got a lot of projects. I have other things I want to knit, so I'm not beating myself up about it. I'm knitting what brings me joy. But yeah, I am knitting another sweater. Sorry, this sock fell and I'm annoyed about it. Knitting another sweater, and it is in Lina 2. I remembered that I like wanted to knit a pattern from every Lina, which is probably never going to happen because there's already 20 something issues. I have issues all the way through 23. I like to buy them off season when they're much reduced in price because I don't need them right away, but I like to collect them. It's like one of the things that I like to buy, even though I like never knit patterns out of them specifically, but they're very reduced when you do that. And I can yeah, you can buy them from a lot of places. The Woolly Thistle has Lina magazines if you want to get the new editions. but they can be popular, so sometimes they sell out. But yeah, I often buy them reduced because I just do. I just like forget to buy them, and then it's like, okay, well, it's, you know, worth it to pay for shipping from Finland, but it's not usually, so you shouldn't do that unless, you know, there's an amazing sale. But I prefer to support the Woolly Thistle when I can, and you should too, because they're local and it just saves on shipping and stuff. It's just better. Support your local yarn store. But I wanted to knit a pattern from Everylina, which is never probably going to happen, but I was like, I'm just going to use this as an excuse to cast on a new sweater. And I initially wanted to knit from Lina 2. Well, there were a lot of choices. This is a really good one. I mean, there's always a lot of really good patterns in Lina, but this one just had like a lot of very knittable patterns. Andrea Mowry's Birds of a Feather shawls in this one, which was really popular. You can buy most of the patterns like individually on Ravelry if you want them, just because the designers get their rights back after like a year or something. But yeah, I just think that the collections are really beautiful. Okay, wait, hang on. I'm talking and I'm forgetting what I'm doing. Okay, so I initially wanted to knit this pattern, which is called the Summer Rain, which I don't know why they use this yarn for this pattern. I mean, maybe they just wanted it to be low contrast, but it's like kind of tweedy, and I can't really see the pattern, but I guess it's cute. But then I changed my mind, and I decided to knit this, which is called Sibyl by Isabel Kramer. I love Isabel Kramer's patterns. So this has these little pearl textured dots on it. It is knitted from the top down with drop shoulders. So it's like you knit the back, like you start at the back shoulders and you cast them on, basically knit a little piece, and then you connect them with the cable cast on, and then you knit for like 6 inches until you have the back, and then it said to cast them on provisionally, but I didn't bother with that. I'm just gonna like pick up the stitches along the shoulder seam because I think that's actually stronger, gives better structure along here. If you did provisional, it would just look like one piece, and a fake seam gives it a little bit more structure and just helps it from stretching a little bit. So I did partially do that because I was lazy and didn't want to do provisional cast on, but also because I thought that through. That's not an excuse. That was a thought in my head. So I'm using, here's what it looks like so far. This is the back. It's a drop shoulder. I don't know if I said that. So then you knit the front in the same way to basically through the yoke, and then you join them and you knit the body, and then you knit this, you pick up and knit the sleeves down and stockinette. So this is the back. Like I said, I'm using this kind of like grayish seafoam color that I did dye myself. It's just a superwash merino fingering weight 4-ply. So I'm trying to knit, I wanted to knit something with a somewhat tight gauge so that it wouldn't stretch out too much, but it probably still will, and I'll probably hate that. But whatever, you know what? I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be lightweight and cozy. And it's like not something that I have. That's one of the other things I'm like, I think this will be fun to knit things that I don't have in my wardrobe that I will wear because they work with what I like, my style and stuff. So, you know, even if they take a really long time to finish, that's okay because I don't have anything like that, and I want that piece in my wardrobe. And I don't knit because I want to finish things really fast anymore. I used to. When knitting was the thing that primarily occupied my brain space when I wasn't working, I wanted to knit just all the time. I wanted to knit a lot of stuff. I wanted to produce a lot of things because that was the thing that gave my life some meaning. And that's valid. You know, now I have a lot of other kind of things, pots that give my life meaning, which is a great thing. And knitting is still like a wonderful thing that occupies my time. But I was hanging out with a friend today after run stuff. Well, we didn't actually have a run club today. There was a 10-mile race in Baltimore, and she was running in the race. And it rained at the finish line. Like, it rained pretty hard at that point. And I was like somewhere else, like on the course cheering, and I stayed like at the cheer squad through like all of the runners who were on the course, like until the police car, like bikes came at the end. And my friend who was running was very fast. And so we were gonna hang out at the finish line, but then it rained. So we just like went to a coffee shop and we talked for like a very long time because we didn't have anything to do. Oh my God, what was I talking about? Oh, and I was telling her, like, I said something like, you know, in a couple of years ago, before I was doing like church music and running stuff all the time, like if we were sitting here, I would be knitting because I just brought it everywhere and it occupied so much more of my like life and my things that I cared about. And yeah, now I don't think about that as much anymore. I also wonder, partially, don't fall. My socks are just like hanging by the blockers. I just like the little hanger blockers. I put them on the edge of the desk. I think partially one of the reasons that I like to knit is because I'm fidgety. Like I'm just a fidgety person. But running, as I've said before, I think it takes my energy level from like here to here every morning. So if I run, I don't feel the need to fidget as much because a lot of the energy has like productively left my body, which I think is kind of interesting. So yeah, but it's not a bad thing to have other things taking up meaning, and it's not a bad thing if you do give knitting a big place in your life. I don't think that I think it's good. It's natural. My friend Simona, who's a psychiatrist, always says, sometimes there will be times when things take up more time in your life because they need to. And they don't always have to do that, but they will for a while, and that's okay. Like, even if you don't think that that thing should take up a lot of room in your life, sometimes it just does. And it might not forever, but it needs to for now. You know, good and bad. So I thought that was a really wise thing to say. She's a very wise person. I'm lucky that I get so much wisdom from such a cool person, who's also a great knitter. Not surprisingly. Surprisingly, my choir is full of people who like to knit. I don't know, and run also. It's not a Venn diagram with a big overlap, but there are other runners in the choir, and there are also other knitters in the choir, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. Got that sweater. I'm just like, did I say everything? Yeah, I haven't been spinning a lot, but I worked a little bit on Shrek this week. I need to do some more combing once I wash this fleece that's going right now. Fiona's getting spun on this wheel, which I've shown before. Oh, you can't really see it. Maybe if I tip it this way. Oops, sorry, Felicity. She's old, she's fine. That is the white Rommeldale fleece that I got and processed. So still have a lot of this that's already combed. I did a lot of combing, which was productive. So I can spin this for a while. It's the white Rommeldale one I had. The one that I got when I got this, it had the crispy tips. So I got the doodle brush. People were very helpful with tips on that. Thank you so much. To say like, oh, put canvas down and then just kind of tap, tap, tap. And I have a lot of really thick canvas bags that I think I can put across my lap to do the flicking the locks open. So I am going to try that because I still have maybe a lot more white fleece to comb. I don't actually know where the rest of the clean fleece is. It's more over there. I put a lot of things in bags just like behind where my camera goes. So yeah, but that's mostly all. I don't think I've been reading or watching anything that interesting. I'm watching the second season of White Lotus again because I literally forgot what happened. I mean, I didn't forget what happened at the end, but it's good TV and I pretty much forgot about it. So I have a lot of discourse with people about this. This is kind of a silly thing, but like one of the things that I find myself saying as kind of a joke sometimes, which isn't a joke, but it sounds kind of like a silly thing to say, is that, so Mike White directed and wrote The White Lotus. He writes and directs, not directed. He has written and directed all the seasons and is continuing to do that because I don't think it's over. And it's a show where there's like a new season every 2 years. It's a slow moving show because apparently it takes him like 8 months to shoot it. Anyway, Mike White also wrote, maybe, I don't know if he directed, but wrote the movie School of Rock in 2003. And I think perhaps this is because I was about 10 when School of Rock was in the theaters and a new movie. But I will always, I just thought that was the best, one of the best movies in history. Like, that's like in my like top movies of all time, with like Shrek 2, The Sound of Music, very different movies. You know, Napoleon Dynamite, absolute masterpiece. You know, there's a lot of great some movies that may seem stupid, but some of them are so great. And School of Rock is a brilliant movie. It is so funny. It will stay with you for so long. Like, I don't know, maybe this is because I was 10 and like all the kids in the movie were also about 10, and I like could, you know, associate with them, and I thought maybe that was very powerful. I don't know. But I thought that was just like the bee's knees. And every time I watch it, which is not that frequently, but I have watched it since many times since I was 10, it like comes back and I'm like, this is so good. And so I'll tell people like, The White Lotus is not Mike White's best piece of work. It is unequivocally, is that what the word I mean to use? I don't know. School of Rock. Like, I literally forget what happens in White Lotus, except for the death, like, and who dies. Every time, like, it goes, I'm like, what happened in that season? Like, I don't remember, and I don't really care. Like, School of Rock, the Battle of the Bands performance in School of Rock, when those kids and Jack Black sing that song on the stage, and it's like crazy light show, and it's so good, in the insane costumes, and like their parents are watching, and they might get in trouble, but they're so good. I think about that, like, at least once a week, and how good that was. And I sing all the dumb little songs that he makes up. And I just think that is a much more important piece of work in the zeitgeist than White Lotus. Even though White Lotus is trendy, it's not as good as School of Rock. I don't care if it takes 8 months to shoot it. School of Rock is just, for me, so much better. So that was a long-winded. If you haven't seen it, School of Rock is a very cool movie. And it's very heartwarming. And it's a little bit silly, and it's PG-13, but it's, you know, it's really, really funny, clever, heartwarming, weird. It's so weird. But like, it's a great movie. It's easy to follow. It's not like one of those weird indie movies. And it's just so charming. So anyway, White Lotus, great. School of Rock, A+. One of the greatest pieces of work in film to me. So that's fun. Anyway, that's all I wrote down for show notes. So I hope that you are all doing well. I'm getting back into running a little bit slowly. My like rate of perceived exertion is still very high, even though like my heart rate has sort of been controlled in the last week of running. So I took it as easy as possible, but I accidentally like full scented a little bit too much. That means that I went a little too fast and probably went too hard, because I was running with friends. I also have found it really hard to run slow. Like my recovery run pace, like for some reason my body just wants to push the speed a little bit, and I don't know why, because it's hot and gross and sweaty. And I'm like, why should I be running this fast? Why can't I pull back? I don't know. So that's something that I need to work on this week, is just like taking it easier, and just getting my mileage back up with very little intensity until I can kind of fully recover. But I think now that it's been 2 weeks, I think I'll be able to, I'll just be, you know, getting better. It might also just be like taking a week off of running does, and, you know, after a marathon when you're really tired, you know, when you come back to it, yeah, it just maybe it just feels a little hard. That's okay. Running is hard. So it feels easy when you do it all the time, but, you know, maybe I just need to like respect the game a little bit. Running's hard. It's okay. It's really fun. So yeah, just need to slow down a little bit and respect the sport. So I'm looking forward to doing that this week. Getting out early in the mornings again. That's another thing. Like, I ran Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday all in the evenings and not in the mornings at all, which was really strange, and was just like the way that the week shaped up, because there were events on Monday and Wednesday that I wanted to go to, like running events. This morning I went for a run to the like spectating zone of the 10 miler. and ran back like from my car there and back to my car. It's just like 4.5 miles all told. Not a long run. I mean, that's the longest. No, that's not the longest run I've done this week. I did a 5-mile run on Wednesday. It doesn't matter. But easing back into it, I'm trying to kind of like implement some more like healthy things like collagen. I don't know if you are watching this, if you ever take collagen, but it is like, it starts to decrease in your body after you're about 30, and I am 31. So like taking it before a run to like protect my joints and making sure that I do a lot of like mobility exercises and just like a little bit of strength training throughout the week, making sure that I always warm up, making sure that I'm like eating the right stuff so that I promote my recovery, lots of protein, that kind of thing. So a lot is going into just thoughts of like, and prep, and that's good. I want to get into just more like good routines that are keeping me healthy for a long time so I can keep running. So that's fun. But yeah, that's kind of all. And I'm going to stop this because I need to go keep washing fleece. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you're staying cool if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and it's getting hot where you are. It's really hot here. It's super humid. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I hope you're enjoying winter. It's, depending on where you live in the Southern Hemisphere, it might still be kind of warm in the winter. I don't know how that is, but I would love to go to the Southern Hemisphere someday. I've never been there. So one day. Anyway, I say anyway a lot as like a segue, and I probably shouldn't. I hope everyone has an amazing week. Hopefully I'll be back with you in another week. At this point, I'm just kind of recording whenever I feel like it, which maybe will just be like every week and a half, depending on how much I've done and want to show you and need to share. So you'll see me. You'll see me around again. And thanks so much for watching. This has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye!